I had a bit of a holy shit moment this morning when I realised it was 11 years since I first bought an album of yours and started going to concerts.
I don't count anymore. I just keep going.
That's what I mean. You must absolutely love doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, singing has always been, it's a cathartic and, you know, trance-like thing. So it's the singing part of it is always great fun. And writing songs is, the creative buzz is never goes away. I mean, the rest, all the logistics, work is work, you know, you have to put stuff together. That part of it. But, you know, I've worked in fish factories, and I've always, previous to doing this, I always did manual work, be it, you know, working on sites or working as a mechanic, so I always consider what I do now is a pretty charmed existence, and you're only here for a short while, so I'm just trying to make as much music as I possibly can on my brief time on the planet.
You're not doing too badly, considering the amount of, from the gigging to the different albums to going down the different routes of exploring different artists and influences.
Yeah, no, I've been lucky. I mean, I only look back really when I did the Stories of Our album there, whatever, last year. That was the first time I kind of looked back and went, hey, you've done a fair bit of stuff. But you know, you're always trying to push the elephant up the hill kind of to the next album, or trying to write the next great song, or trying to outdo yourself basically, and that gets a little harder as you go along because you do so much stuff. But that's what I suppose being an artist is about. It's about trying to push yourself and not being happy with anything you've done. I mean, a lot of times you just see what's wrong with what you've done and how you could have done that better. So that's the kind of thing that keeps you going. And then there's so many different facets to it. You know, you've got the live aspect of it, the shows. That's something you learn to do and enjoy as you go along. You're always trying to push that as well. Song-wise, you're always trying to push yourself into new areas, musically and theme-wise. And I'm lucky that I can change what I do and have done a lot of different styles, so I'm not kind of stuck in one place as a lot of people kind of do seem to get.
Is that a conscious thing you do? It's like from the Brel stuff to the Randy Newman stuff, they seem to be quite immersive kind of explorations of influences on your music career, or was it just to kind of started doing a few bits with this kind of fun and then it just grew into something else?
Well, I would have had stuff that interested me. I would have been a fan of Jacques Brel, I would have been a fan of Randy Newman, and most of them start out with to have a song and you go, God, I loved that song. Then you go, God, I've never loved that song. And then you get a couple of them together, you go, God, you could actually do an album of that, rather than doing the covers album in respect of taking a wide variety of stuff, which I'm sure I will do at some stage. But yeah, I find it better to, because then you can usually do a show kind of with a theme as well, which I like as well.
Naked as sin, and on my towel covering my belly, some of us blush, somehow knees turning to jelly. Next, I was still just a kid. There were 100 like me. I followed those naked bodies followed me. Next, I was still just a kid when my innocence was lost in a mobile army whorehouse, gift of the army, free of cost. You're next.
The most interesting thing I'm doing at the moment is the radio show High Fidelity. It's a 26-part hour-long radio show myself and Julie Feeney are doing, which is basically the history of music from Edison to the sound cloud in the sky kind of thing.
So you're kind of focusing on the recorded
history
that we have?
Yeah, so it's right from the Caruso's first recording. We've recorded some of the shows. We're going to be doing some live. We've recorded some, starting out with Edison inventing it. We've gone through the blues and what was happening in Europe, First World War. It's just fascinating. You know, such great characters. People like Leadbelly, who the blues owes so much to, and so many people have covered his songs even. He was the kind of you see the prototypes and the original of the species, you know. So it's fascinating doing that.
Go back to the roots.
All roots kind of stuff, and it's gas because initially they thought records were not. They didn't think of them in respect of music. They thought that people would be sending letters, audio letters, and that would be the thing, you know. So loads of and singers didn't want to use it because they thought because of the quality that it would do them harm. But Caruso was the first one to see the commercial potential, and it's funny also to see how little things have changed. Only the technology has changed, but
just the different media.
And everybody's already done a lot of what we're all still doing, but
we all think this is new.
it's all been done before, really, in many respects. But it is a brave and strange new world, the one we live in, with the new media and all that kind of stuff. Or us having our own TV channels now, each individual person.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting on the breeze, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you ever feel already buried deep, 6 feet under screams, but no one hears a thing? Don't you know that there's still a chance for you? There's a spark in you. You just gotta ignite the light.
Going back to the High Fidelity program that you're doing with Julie Feeney, did Lyric approach you, or how did that come about?
Athena Media, Helen Shaw, she approached me, and she approached Julie too. Myself and Julie I knew Julie anyway, we'd sang a few songs together and we knew each other. Everybody most people know each other on the old music scene. So yeah, she asked us to do it, and I suppose because she knew that I'd done lots of different stuff, or had some kind of historical lineage, kind of from singing John McCormack songs or whatever, that kind of thing. I had some kind of trail that I would know something about it. So I'm kind of a handyman, I suppose. I've done lots of different stuff, and then Julie is an amazing artist and classically, trained and all that, so she does all that. So yeah, I think we make a good pair for and what we bring to it.
Do you think there might be a live show that might come out of that, or a set of recordings or something might grow into that, depending on how it goes? Or
you never know. I mean, I had, outside of this thing, it was funny when Helen asked me about it, because I'd just done a show of Paul Robeson songs, and what struck me most about that, I just did one-off thing for the Flatlegs Festival of Paul Robeson songs, and what struck me about the songs is because Paul Robeson was at the very beginning of the century, fascinating character, but the songs he sang, a lot of them say something like No More Auction Block, which was a song that black slaves sang after they were no longer for sale in the Civil War. The melody of that Dylan took for Blowing in the Wind. So basically songs that predated, we put a price on songs, and if you like, previous to that, music was a free energy. I sang you a song, that whole thing. Yeah. But so I did have it. I had accumulated all these songs that were like antiques. So I did think about that. Maybe that's a show that I would do at some stage. Songs that have great stories, and someone like Leadbelly is somebody like that as well. Where that song was a Ram Jam. Oh, Black Betty, down and down. Well, that was a Leadbelly song, but Black Betty. Leadbelly spent a lot of time in prison, and what Black Betty was the whip that he used to whip them with, but we think of it as a song about a lady. Yeah. So, there's all these kind of... I'm interested in the history of songs and how they've evolved or changed. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a very interesting narrative and a show to go with that. So, that previous to doing the show, this thing itself, that was something that did strike me. So yeah, who knows? But I'm concentrating on just doing a new album at the moment, outside of everything else. But I was doing that, and then this came along. So trying to keep all the plates spinning, you know. At the moment.
And how do you think the music industry has fared for Irish artists or for yourself over the last couple of years? I know the whole digital kind of age has kind of it's still causing trouble. I think music is still catching up.
It hasn't changed that much for me, only it makes it easier to communicate with people. And I mean, we used to, you know, lick stamps and have a mailing list and send out thousands and thousands of letters. Now you can tell people what's happening with the click of a switch. So that's a quantum leap, and very progressive in that whole thing. And in many respects, it probably suits somebody like me who would have pockets of fans in different countries where you don't need a big record company to come in and throw a load of money at it to try to get you can tell people yourself and build on it on a grassroots level, as I've always kind of done anyway from the beginning. It's always just been doing shows and acquiring or accumulating people that want to buy the records, and you know, you're selling a buzz, I suppose, at the shows, and people like that, and then they come back for more.
So you think that the live aspect is still probably the most important
place
for an artist to
it seems to be
hone
now
their craft and to prove themselves and to kind of bring in a new audience?
Yeah, well, it always was for me anyway, the kind of thing that interested me the most, and I enjoyed the most, much as I enjoy recording. It is a different medium and a very different thing, and all you're doing is trying to capture what you do live on record a lot of the time. But it depends what kind of record you're doing. You might be trying to push yourself musically or whatever. But I think all in all, for someone like me, the Brave New World is a good one.
Would you call yourself an evangelist of the digital and modern?
No, I mean, when I started out, I got the website and had probably a website when many didn't, because it was all, this is going to revolutionise, and then it didn't for years. But over the last few years, it flipped, and there was that turnover where suddenly you could do it yourself, and basically the technology caught up with the idea. So I actually made a conscious effort this year. My New Year's resolution was to no longer be a Luddite and to try to embrace the whole digital age. So that's basically what I've been trying to do, but I mean, I just forget to do it half the time because I'm doing other things.
You're too busy with life?
Pretty much so, yeah.
I think that's a good balance.
But I try to get on every other day on and say something stupid. Or whatever you do, you know. But it's good. It's good to, you know, to be able to interact with people and be able to
see what happens, see what comes back.
Yeah, and it's also immediate now. I think, you know, the music industry is just finding its way. It'll just.
It's just a little bit slower than maybe other mediums, like.
Well, see, it's the whole thing about music becoming free is fine, you know, if you're robbing it off the net, which is essentially what you're doing. Because for any artist, it still takes a lot of money to make a record. You know, you got different studios and musicians, so it's all fine and dandy. But it's going to kill off people too. It has become cheaper to make music because of the technology, but it still costs a lot of money. So I don't know what way it's going to work out. It's going to kill off a lot of people. I'm not going to let people.
People that are more reliant on records.
I think it's going to become more specialised. As I say, everybody has their own channel now. Everybody is Rupert Murdoch. You know, you have your own. Yeah. You're the director and the producer and the MC and everything of your own channel, be it your own website or Facebook or whatever. So that's an interesting thing. You know.
So the music industry is still just evolving and trying to harness.
Yeah, pretty much
what
so.
That can do for the music industry.
Yeah, and I mean the weirdest thing I find fascinating about modern media is, you know, if you read 1984 or Big Brother watching everybody and all that kind of stuff, that isn't actually what's happened. What's happened is that people want to be watched, which is a curveball that nobody saw. As I heard someone say, we're living in 1984, but we just dress a little bit better as things always going on. But we actually want to be watched, so it's a funny one. I think, you know, it seems to be that the technology is moving so quick, and people are just kind of rolling with it, but the curveball kind of stuff that comes out of it that you never see happening is like Edison thinking that records were for sending letters, you know. I never really thought about the music side of it, so we're still there kind of working it out. But yeah, I think it's all good, I suppose.
Have you considered, or have you done any, say, long distance collaborations by using the likes of the way the internet is just so pervasive now and everybody's so used to using digital technologies?
Well, you do. I mean, it's easy. Record something and send it to someone in America to mix it. You can do that kind of stuff. I've done that. Or to throw their ideas on it and send it back. That's gone on for quite a while. I mean, it's not even a new thing in many respects, but it's so immediate now that you can do it, and that you know, you can maintain the quality of something even by sending it. You don't lose that much. I mean, the irony of the digital age is that music is becoming more compressed and probably worse than it has ever been in the MP3 compressed kind of format. Which is hilarious, really, when you think about it.
People are more worried about their bandwidth than they are about the actual quality of what they have in their iPod.
But it's even funny with the big TVs now and HD and all that. But everybody's just watching grainy old stuff on a little screen on YouTube. It's the Emperor's New Clothes. It's a bottle of smoke. It's just, I don't know. It's funny.
Shine just so the night, like the 4th of July. Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go as you shoot across the sky.
There's an interview I was listening to, I'm not sure when it might have been last year, where you said when doing the story so far you didn't necessarily like looking back, you prefer to look forward to new stuff. But I got some lovely surprises at the gig in the National Concert Hall, where there was a lot of stuff, say, from the earlier albums.
Right.
So I'm wondering, is that something that you enjoy just dipping into at your leisure?
Cheers, thanks. Well, see, it's funny when you do the orchestral shows. You're pretty at. You're always accumulating the scores, which for the orchestras, and I have a lot of old scores that I would have had written up. You have to get new ones written up for, which is the whole rigmarole in itself. So whenever I do the orchestral shows, I tend to play songs that I don't normally play because I have scores for them that the orchestra can use. So that's kind of how that works out. But yeah, it's kind of it's a logistic thing as much as anything else. But for me, it's great. Yeah, I love going back and singing the old tunes as well. But you're always trying to get scores for new stuff as well, whether they have it or not, so that you can play them in that fashion. And then there are some songs that just kind of need that kind of ammo to really work. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a good show. That was good fun. It's always a buzz to play with an orchestra. It's just such a thrill. Just that, as I always say, that moment before they come in, where you know it's just gonna slide in there, and it's just beautiful. And strings, they draw the emotion from you. You know, there's a melancholy to them. It's just nice, you know.
Something special there.
Yes, and it's different than the gospel choir thing, which is kind of uplifting.
Yeah. Is there a reason why you decided to? Because you've got the two very different concerts coming up. I just thought
I'd mix it up. I mean, I'm trying to do for the second show in Victory on the 1st of July with the strings. I'm getting a multimedia thing going, bringing back the screens and trying to let film work with the songs too, so that unlike the Brel show where we used a lot of visuals. So that's basically what I'm trying to do for that one, to try to. I mean, you're just trying to keep yourself entertained as much as you are the audience, and it's there's nothing the creative process of having an idea and then actually seeing it
come to fruition.
Yeah, it's great.
I really would have liked just a little touch of tenderness, maybe a word, a smile, a moment's happiness, but oh no! Next! Oh, it wasn't so tragic. The high heavens didn't fall, but how much of the time I had it didn't care at all. Next.
Is the visual side of things something that you'd be really involved with as well, or
Yeah.
are you happy to kind of let someone just, okay, here's a theme and go with it, or?
Well, you get different people you can delegate to and trust to. I mean, when you work with new people, you're usually keeping an eye on that everybody's on the same page. But yeah, if I had something to throw into the pot, I'll throw it in. If I don't, I keep my mouth shut and let people do their thing. But at the moment, we're just working on what that is, and I just go through stuff and see what way it might help itself. I mean, you don't want that to be overbearing on the actual music itself or to distract. So you're trying to get those balances right. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting thing to do.
Do you have a favourite out of the two? Or is it different, just horses for courses? Gospel suits a certain suite of songs, and the strings just brings out certain things in the others, so it's just...
Well, the gospel thing is it's the blues explosion, it's the hallelujah, and it's Reverend L kind of thing, it's that, and then the classical thing is a little more reserved, but it relies on I suppose the power of the string instruments and what they lend to things, and some people like the rock thing, and some people just want to hear you sing, and I like doing both, so it's not it's interesting for me to do either. The whole thing about pick your best, what's your top 10, all that kind of stuff, can never do that. I just
change some day.
Well, I just I could say one thing today and say something else tomorrow, so
exactly.
That's kind of how it is, yeah.
Between the gospel and the strings experimentation stuff you're doing in the concert hall lately, is that something that you're bringing into the new album that you're working on? Or?
Yeah, well, I just kind of write tunes and then see where they end up, to tell you the truth. I've recorded about 20 songs of all different musical styles, and from band stuff to electronic kind of stuff. So at the moment I'm trying to get it into some coherent. I still believe in the album format, that has a coherent kind of thing going on. So that's kind of where that's at the moment. So I couldn't. You're always taking a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of the gospel and a bit of thing and a bit of, but you're also trying to do something new. But essentially, I just kind of serve the song now is what the thing I do. Whatever suits the song best and doesn't cloud it and only helps it is what interests me more than anything else, rather than let's put it on because it's what everybody else is doing.
Or I want to do an X type of album
yeah.
just for the sake of doing exploring this thing. And this is,
I mean, when I started out doing music, I always said I wanted to do every style, so I'm slowly but surely, and everybody always went, oh, you can't do that. So, but anyway, I'm giving it a bash.
There's something like the, I don't know if you're familiar with the show Joe Strummer used to put out in the BBC World Service, or he kind of used to explore, or he just kind of did an everything and anything kind of stuff he liked and he got to play kind of thing. Is that something you'd ever
Did he
be
do
interested in?
playing live? Or?
I'm not sure if it was done live or if he had it pre-recorded, but no, it was just going out on BBC. Did it? I think it was Sunday nights or something for a while.
Playing records or?
Yeah, just playing records.
Oh.
but it got a huge following because he had such an eclectic taste, and he had such, like that with the history of songs.
Yeah, I have
He
a
was
pretty
just really
bizarre
interested
taste
in
now.
that.
I mean, I have a pretty eclectic taste too. Yeah, I mean, radio, that was kind of like, I mean, as a music fan and a music head, everybody loves inflicting their music on, have a listen to this or have a listen to that, so radio is the pinnacle of that, I suppose. So yeah, I love radio show and do that.
Yeah, get
play
your
all kinds of
digital radio station
bizarre stuff. But I mean, you essentially have a radio station if you have. I'm sure there's a site where you can go and have a radio station.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got a busy year coming up then. You've got your 2 gigs, big gigs in the Vicar Street, you've got gigs around the country, and you've got the Fringe Festival coming up, Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah, the Edinburgh Fringe is the month of August.
Yeah.
It's pretty full on. You're playing every night. So yeah,
and it went down well last year.
Yeah, we got some good reviews and good awards and all that kind of stuff. So that always bodes well for going back. That's kind of how that thing works, and it's a good gateway, obviously, to a worldwide audience, and it's just a really good fun as well. It's a bit of a busman's holiday because you're just hanging out with all the other musicians and comedians and actors, and you can because the shows are shorter, you're actually physically able to go out on the tear, you know what I mean? If they're, most shows are cut down to an hour long, where I would usually do it in 2 hours, so the difference as regards being taxing on your energy levels is sufficient enough.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Balance.
It's great fun, yeah. It really is, and it's such an amazing festival. I would definitely recommend it to anybody to go to it. And the fact that it runs so long, but it has all the energy that a weekend open air festival has, but it runs for a month, so good fun.
Are you releasing a single that you recorded with Camille before that or around that? Or?
Well, I'm hoping to get something out before Christmas. I'm not too sure what that will be, but yeah, I'll try and get something out before Christmas, and then something out, or the album of the new year. So yeah, we recorded Montclair, which we did on the Saturday Night Show. We got a really good reaction to it, so we thought we'd do a proper job on it, because we never actually, it had been floating around for a while and we'd never actually recorded, so that's sounding good. But everything's kind of just like I say, all the plates are spinning around up in the air at the moment, so.
Tell the leaves, stay on the trees. This moment's frozen.
Is it you on Twitter?
Is it me on Twitter? Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I know it is. Yeah, sometimes I try to, but it's funny. I mean, I tried to do Twitter. I tried to go on it, but I just forget. It's like I was on the Ray Darcy show this morning when I was over. I went, shit, I should have put that on Twitter. That was going to be on the show, and I didn't even think of it, But I don't know. It's. I think it's necessary to do it now. It seems to be, and it's helpful, and it's. I was occupied with something else, or just don't think of it, or.
Go on, plug the shows again. Vicar Street.
Vicar Street. Let me see now. 27th of May with the Gospel Choir, and July the 1st with strings and visuals. So.
Great.
It's going to be.
And they can buy tickets on promotions.ie, ticketmaster.ie, at Vicar Street, and all of that kind of stuff.
Splendid.
Steph and Jack, thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you very much.
This night.